someone told the stories. And he drove around sometimes with like the scanners in his car. So I'm like, you gotta go to this accident over here, make sure you get B-roll, and bring back like 2 sound bites. So funny. It's like such a lifetime ago. I went to my first, I know it sounds awful, but I went to my first accident when I was interning with him. And it was a woman hit by a bus right on South Main Street. It's horrible.
Wow.
And that was with him. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I couldn't do it.
No. Not fun.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:04. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. It's so great to see such a full audience. Is there a motion to seal the executive session minutes from tonight?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And tonight in executive session, we did approve 2 homeschooling requests, and those were approved 5-0. And we also voted to approve the 23-24 safety plan for the Narragansett school system, and that also was passed 5-0. So I'm very excited that we have our showcase coming up next. I'm going to let Dr. Cummings do introductions for us.
All right, well, I'll just pass on the introductions, and let me introduce Chris Fiore, Mr. Fiore, who's going to speak a little bit about the showcase tonight.
Good evening. Yes. We have 2 extraordinary young men here tonight who are going to talk a little bit about their senior project as it relates to the Digital Media CTE program. And it's a program that we've just gotten off the ground. We're very excited about. It's drawing a lot of interest, rave reviews. They've spent considerable time throughout the campus, day in and day out. They're always around, always available. They've really taken the initiative upon themselves to do this with the utmost fidelity, and I'm excited for them. So I want to turn it over to Finn and Braden right away so they can share their progress. Gentlemen.
All right, so my name is Braden Ansaldi, and this is Finn Jennings. And for our senior project, we're going to be making a movie. So it's going to be like a thriller, like horror mystery style movie. And we're aiming for it to be like 30 minutes long at least. And we're going to use like a lot of the skills that we've gotten from the digital media. Like we took the class last year, so we were part of the first ever digital media production class. So we kind of helped kickstart the program. And I mean, ever since we were little, we've been working with Mr. Jennings in the elementary school on different projects. And so we've always had an interest in it, and we've worked together a bunch. So we wanted to take the senior project as an opportunity to kind of like make something really big and like use what we've learned to like make something cool.
So as Braden said, we have been growing up around all of this digital media stuff. And we were part of the first class. We do wish we had more of a chance to use it in high school because we are seniors. But we're taking this as our chance to really put our skills to work and make the movie. And we found a way to tie it into our senior projects. I'm doing the audio and he's doing the editing for it. So 2 different skills that we've learned we're going to be able to kind of use and build upon.
So we actually made this video, and it's like just kind of some behind the scenes of us working. It's like 30 seconds long. I'll just play it. Yeah, so in the video, we were getting what's called B-roll, which is like just shots of different like places around. So like just to kind of set the scene. So we were in like Galilee at the Block Island ticket like thing, sorry. And we were just getting some shots of like the water and like talking about, because that's gonna be like a scene in our movie. It's gonna take a scene's gonna take place there. So we wanted to kind of like go and just see how everything would work, and we got some of that B-roll. So that's just a video of us doing that.
The video also showcased, if you noticed, all the organization that we have to take into account when we're working with all that equipment, because it is very like technically complicated and you have to keep it organized. Also, it showcased me editing sound, which was actually used back in the video. So it really shows everything we'll be doing to create the movie.
So specifically, like senior project-wise, Mr. Jennings is gonna be my mentor, and he's gonna help me like learn different editing techniques and different softwares that I'm not familiar with. So I've done editing before on like various things, but I haven't done it on a scale of like a whole movie. So it's gonna be interesting for me to see if I can like stretch my learning to be able to do that. And Finn's doing the editing and the audio, sorry, and you can talk about that.
So as Braden mentioned, I'm doing the audio, and I do play a lot of instruments, but I've never really worked with like a kind of professional sort of thing like this. I've never made it for a movie. I've never really like recorded all that much, so I'm gonna be learning how to do that. I have two mentors, and they're both music teachers, and they both know their way around the programs I'll be using very well, so it'll be good to learn.
And then back to the CTE, we kind of want to just show that what we're doing is kind of like mirroring what the CTE is all about, and we're using a lot of the equipment, like we're using all the equipment that is from the CTE, so we're excited to be able to like get to like hands-on and like use all the new stuff, and yeah.
I think that's about it. Thank you for your time.
Hold on, couple questions.
Yep.
So my question is, do both of you know what you plan to do next year yet? Have you decided?
Me personally, I'm leaning towards community college just for the 2 free years.
I want to go study like astronomy or astrophysics somewhere. I don't know where yet, but I'm applying to some schools.
Nice. And then my only comment is, when you present your senior project, I think it's like 4 to 7 minutes or something total. So it would be great after you guys present, whatever footage is shared during that 4 to 7 minutes, if the superintendent can get that and share that with us, because I'd love to see like the snapshot of the finished product in May and June. Or May, I think, senior projects. Yeah. So the rest of the committee, questions or comments?
I'm just curious, is the scene that you had up on the screen to begin with, is that a clue that it's going to be a murder on the Block Island boat? I mean, you don't have to give the plot away.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything.
Okay. No, my real question is, what's your estimated time of it's going to take with the work of both of you to produce the half-hour movie?
Well, over the summer, we wrote the script, and that took a ton of time, so we worked together on that, and the script's like 40 pages long, and we've already started like getting like the costumes and like going to stores and like buying what we're gonna wear and casting people, so we've put a lot of time into it already before we can even start the senior project portion with like the editing and the audio, so it's gonna be a little bit before we can actually do it, but we've been working nonstop to get it done.
Well, I'll just also chime in and say, Finn and Braden, really job well done. I know from experience of doing the senior project that it's a very daunting task to get up and give a presentation, even, amongst a small classroom of teachers and parents that you may be familiar with. So, job well done to come here to a public forum and to give such a great presentation that you just did. Really well rehearsed, strong presence, very well done. Also, a 30-minute video I can't even imagine how, small the task that is. It seems to be, you have like an hour and a half movie that people in Hollywood are spending 2-3 years to put together, and you're taking on the task of putting together a whole 30-minute video in just your academic year. So really looking forward to hearing how it progresses. And, you know, I really appreciated the documenting of the process here. I know that's a very key word in the senior project. So really job well done there, and very much look forward to hearing how it all comes together. My only other question would be when it comes to the casting of your characters. I'm not making a pitch to be in the video. I could, but I'm not making a pitch for that. How did you go about the casting process? Did you advertise? How many people will be in your video?
So what we did, we really kind of brainstormed when we were writing the script what character would fit someone that we know. And when we did mention it to a lot of people we knew, they were very enthusiastic about wanting to be in it. So it really wasn't a big struggle to find people that wanted to be in it. So, yeah.
How
We're
large a
actually in
cast?
it too.
Oh, all right.
How large a cast is it?
I would say about 15 people.
Very impressive.
Well, I hope to see some clips of it too at graduation when we are sitting in the Ryan Center on the big screen. Usually it's like that slide deck to music with still photos. I'd love to see little snippets of like moving video or at least still pictures from it. That'll be cool on the up on the big screen at the Ryan Center, little pieces of that.
It would be an adventure as the horror movie graduation scene. So,
Any other comments or questions from the school committee? Jen?
I just wanted to say, when you think of a vision of a graduate and you talk about a senior project, you can only hope to see like a twinkle in somebody's eyes to be so excited to do something. And I think this is 100% proof that, Narragansett teachers and admin and the kids working together, like, I love seeing that in your eyes. And I can tell you're going to learn what you need to learn. And I can tell it's going to be great no matter what it is. And I just think it's a win-win. I think it's awesome.
And it's proof that senior projects can be fun, too, just so you know. That's awesome.
And we really appreciate you coming tonight. You're certainly more than welcome to stay as long as you want, but if you make a silent getaway, we understand it's a school night. But thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. You did an outstanding job tonight, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, so we are moving right along. It's now time for open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak? How about you first? Come on to the podium and please state your name.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Amy Rodriguez. So first, I'd like to address the positive actions of the district by hiring Principal Fiore. He's doing a fantastic job as the new high school principal. My children are very happy to have him in this position. Now, the reason why I'm here. The school district has adopted and incorporated the Say Something anonymous reporting system that can and has been used inappropriately. This reporting system was used by someone residing outside of the Narragansett School District on September 25th of this year, not even a full month into the school year. The reporting system allows anyone to report on whomever they choose without scrutiny nor fear of legal consequences from what I've experienced. An out-of-district child used this system to target my daughter, along with other Narragansett school children, to which a policeman was dispatched to my home at 12:34 a.m. The officer wasn't sure why he was at my house exactly, since there wasn't an actual police report filed, nor did he know who filed the complaint, since it went through the app found on the Narragansett school system website. As such, instead of following the threat assessment and response protocol, which I have here, if anyone needs it, I'm glad we'll be talking about that tonight, and reviewing the alleged threat to see if it was credible, My daughter was assumed guilty and expected to meet with a school psychologist without me or my approval. My husband and I were also expected to submit ourselves to an assessment by a social worker. Since my family will not subject ourselves to such rights violations, my daughter missed valuable learning time as she was not allowed in class nor on school grounds until I had her assessed by a professional. This is an incredible overreach and abuse of the people of Narragansett's tax dollars. My husband and I do not send our children to school to be psychologically evaluated. Perhaps this sort of misuse of school budget funds speaks to why the district test scores are down. I demand that the Say Something anonymous reporting system be removed from our district. We already have viable safety measures in place that cannot be so easily used to target children and parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Come on up and please state your name.
Hi, I'm Lauren Calcagney. I have 2 kids in the school system, 3rd grade and 1st grade. I'm here with other families who support a pragmatic reorganization. 5th grade has historically been classified as an elementary grade throughout the United States. I'm presenting to the school committee a proposal to bring 5th grade to the elementary school. The proposal has over 60 signatures from families of the Narragansett school system. Current research from peer-reviewed journals, such as the Journal of School Health, Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, and the American Journal of Education, objectively identify it is beneficial for the 5th grade to be part of an elementary school. I have a packet for you. It's outlined with the vision of creating an upper elementary at Narragansett Elementary School, and it has signatures of support and research links. And I really do hope that we can further discuss this at another meeting.
Great, thank you. If you have any paperwork you want to leave, you can leave it with Ms. Ruggiero, and she can get it to the superintendent, and the superintendent can share anything with us. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for open forum? Come on up and say your name, please.
I'm Elizabeth Del Ghizo from Narragansett, 102 Riverdale Drive. I do not presently have any children in the Narragansett school system. However, I have 2 children who are teachers, not in this state, but in other states. And I want to get more involved now in the Narragansett school district to find out really what's going on. Because when I hear what's going on elsewhere, and I don't think it's too different here, probably either, but I do want to say that I really think everyone needs to take a common sense approach to schooling children. Teachers are there to teach the children, not to have to discipline. That's the family, the parents' position. It should be left in the parents' hands and leave the teachers to teach so that the children can learn. The other thing I noticed too is we have to demand respect. And that needs to be 100% daily in our schools, because that is the only way that these children, because there's a lot of them that don't even know how to respect. So I would like to hope that all the teachers in the Narragansett school system demand respect. And that works both ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. So we are moving on to oral reports, and we will start with the school committee. Are there any school committee members that have a report to give?
Yes, I do.
All right, Alex, you're up.
First announcement, the Rhode Island Association, the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition Rhode Island Association of Healthy Schools Coalition, something like that. Boy, I'm blanking today. They're having an annual breakfast, so it'll be held next Thursday, October 26th at the Crown Plaza from 7:15 to 10 a.m. Narragansett has a table reserved, and it is open to all wellness leaders in the Narragansett school community. If you wish to attend, please reach out to Pete or myself. And at our meeting at the end, or I don't know if it was like a week or two ago, we summarized the accomplishments of the Wellness Committee over the past 2 years, as well as some of the needs and work that the committee needs to do to continue with for the 2023-2024 school year. And then last week, the Narragansett District Diversity Equity Team met, and we met for the first time of the new academic year. We reviewed results of a survey that was administered at the end of last year. Feedback included having more professional development opportunities on the topics of diversity and equity, and for schools to offer more cultural assemblies, internships, and events throughout the year. We wrote and received a grant for 3 years to provide cultural assemblies, internships for all 3 schools. And in regards to the Digital Equity Subcommittee, accomplishments from the first year include consistent typing practices for grades 3 through 8, and digital citizenship lessons within junior Mariners at Narragansett Peer School, and Mariner 101 to 401 at the Narragansett High School. Focus areas for the second year include a broader reach, additional tech, digital equity professional development for teachers, and artificial intelligence professional development for staff in November or December, and providing additional computer tech instruction for the elementary school.
All right, thank you, Alex. Do any other school committee members have a report to give? Okay. All right, so we are moving on to our student report. Maya.
Is it on? Okay, yeah, sorry. So I'm just summarizing the first 2 months of the 2023-2024 academic school year at the high school. So far, it's been a great first 2 months of school. Students are in the midst of their academic work, and more specifically, seniors, as myself, are currently writing their senior papers, and as well as in the midst of getting their projects approved. And as students, we, at the time that I wrote this, were eagerly awaiting Spirit Week, which we are now in the middle of. So it was kicked off with our homecoming football game on the 14th, and then that was followed by Power Puff, which was the 15th. And then this week is all like themes. So today was Decades Day, and then so a theme every day of the week, and then that is ended with the dance, which is on the 21st. So I just wanted to briefly talk about a few topics that have still been brought to my attention as the schedule. It's still definitely rigorous, as I said in my last report, because there's shorter classes, which therefore allows more classes. So that's a lot of work for students, but I think as time is moving on, we're getting more efficient at time management, but I'll definitely touch back on that when we get to like midterms. And then also, I wanted to talk about the Mariner 401 class that was added to the schedule this year. I can only talk about 401, not 301, 201, or 101, because I'm a senior. But I think it was an excellent decision to add this to the schedule. I know personally that the class has helped me when it comes to college applications in the Common App, because having an advisor in the room to answer my questions is extremely helpful. And I know that there's mixed reviews from some students. Some think it's pointless, but as someone that is doing early application, and as most of my friends are and people I've talked to, I have no idea what I'm doing, honestly. So having an advisor in there with me is so helpful, and I definitely recommend keeping this class. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in the classes, like the 101, 201, 301, but 401 is definitely helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Do any school committee members have any questions or comments for Maya? All right, well, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that Spirit Week was exciting. Are the themes, do you know if they're picked out by student council, or who gets to pick out what the Spirit Days are?
So, usually the themes are there. They're just by the teachers. So Monday, Red and White Day. Tuesday was Sports Day. Today was Decades Day. Tomorrow is Free Choice Day. And then Friday, you wear your class shirt. But then within those like themes, you can pick. So seniors have priority. So for the sports, we picked football/cheerleading. Today was Decades Day, so we picked 80s. Tomorrow, Free Choice Day, so we picked like costume, so we can just wear a costume. And then we also get first choice on like t-shirts, what colors we want, like what theme, so yeah.
So what did the seniors pick for their color for their shirt for Friday?
Just by like past years, seniors usually get red and black, so we did that. And then our theme is Stranger Things, so on the shirt it says like senior things with the like upside down.
That's
and
cool.
then we decorate our hallway
Very
like that
cool.
as well.
Very cool. Love the creativity there. And it's bringing me back, so.
I'm sure
I love
Alex
it.
still has his
I love
senior
it.
shirt
I want to,
with your name
yeah,
you
I
get to
want
pick
to,
out,
yeah,
right?
I want to get, well, yeah, I do, but you know, it's a special shirt.
Next school committee meeting, we want to see it under your suit.
But no, yeah, that's really awesome, and just a recommendation, of course, just don't be afraid to go all out. You know, you want to win your senior year, so that's awesome.
All right, thank you, Maya. On to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cummings?
Great. Maya certainly covered a lot of the things that I was going to talk about, but we are really excited. It's been a great opening to school. Kids are really in the thick of their learning, and as Maya indicated, we're adjusting to the new schedules. I think there's a lot of positives. There are some things that we've gotten feedback on that we will adjust either at mid-year or going into next year. Any new structure, there is some learning, but we've really gotten a lot of positive feedback around it and some really good insights into if we tweaked one thing or tried something different in certain ways, that there's some learning for us to do there. The big news of the day is that the RICAS scores came out this week, so we'll be covering those in depth when we get to our November meeting. The strong news is that as a district, we're up a little bit in math, which is nice to see because we've been working really hard at math. We're about flat in ELA, which is to be expected. We're going through some implementation of new curricula, and you always have a little bit of an implementation adjustment as we go forward with that. We have some ups and downs at certain grade levels that we can trace to some staffing issues. So we had several teachers that were, several grade levels where we had teachers had to leave mid-year, and so we can kind of trace some of those. Really gets to the point where we know teaching matters, right? We know having high-quality staff matters, and so we are confident, right, that some of those bubbles are not long-term issues. And the really strong news is that the elementary school had outstanding results. And so, at first glance, if they're not the top elementary school in the state, they're pretty darn close. And so that was really encouraging to see. They were in the top, really in the top tier in both math and in ELA. So that was a great piece. One thing that we're going to get into that's an ongoing concern are two things that really affect our scores in a very small district. One is opt-outs, and so when students refuse to take the test or their parents excuse them and say they don't have to take the test, that counts as a 0 for us. And so if we have just a couple of those in each grade level, that significantly reduces our scores. And so while we do try to do a lot of parent education around why these are important learning experiences and while they're important dipsticks for us to know where kids are in their learning, sometimes parents choose to opt their students out of that, and so that really damages our scores. And again, not that the scores are not the most important thing. It really does not provide us with the data that we need to really think about that student's learning progress. And two are students who are chronically absent. So we did a quick analysis today. Between a third and a half of our students who did not meet standard on the SAT were chronically absent, which means that they missed more than 10 days. And so that chronic absenteeism, again, is a real level of concern, really affects students' learning, and that's reflected in the scores. And so we'll go in deeper dive on those when we get into our November piece. Our administrators are really working hard on kind of disaggregating that data, and again, we just got it today. And so that's a piece that we're going forward. But the good news, and I think the headline, is that math continues to improve, and we're really excited about that.
Any questions from the school committee for Dr. Cummings? All right, thank you. So we're on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve consent agenda items CA1B, CA2A, CA2B, and CA2C?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We're on to the budget report. Karen?
Good evening. Expenditures for the 3 months ended September 30th, 2023, total $6,724,545, and that's 18.55% of our budget. Expenditures and encumbrances total $29,472,374, and that's 81.29% of our budget.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Karen? All right, thank you. So we're on to school committee business. Item number 1, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the annual FFA National Convention trip to Indianapolis, Indiana from October 30th through November 4th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Dr. Cummings?
Great. I'd love to invite Mr. Gatlin up, and he can talk a little bit about the trip. This is the annual trip, and really an exciting opportunity for students.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. I brought with us tonight our chapter president, who has a little bit to talk about the trip this year. It's a little unique compared to past years, but I'm going to let her kind of take that role and talk about how our students are going to be working out there this year and having some success.
Hello, my name is Emily Myers, and this year I'm serving as the 2023-2024 state president for Rhode Island and the president for the Narragansett FFA chapter. With being the president of the state, I am able to serve as the delegate, which that means that there's 2 people from each state that get to go out, and I get to vote on what all of the chapters think, and I get to socialize with other states, and we get to make the decisions for the National FFA. We have 12 students representing the Narragansett FFA this year. 7 of them are on the conduct of the chapter team, so they work together doing opening and closing ceremony, and they're going to vote on something. We have 4 people competing on the floriculture team, so what they do is they go through a bunch of activities, and they're going to compete nationally. And then we have 1 person that's going to be the flag bearer and represent Rhode Island. The trip cost is about $500, but we try to get it down. We have the fundraisers to cover 3/4 of the trip, so we have fundraisers throughout, and we allow the kids to go there, and that money goes right towards their trips.
So I'll talk a little bit more. So in past years, we've had the Hall of States where we bring out an exhibit with us. This year, Nationals has decided to not offer that. They're doing a video production where states are sending videos in, and they're going to play them in a Hall of States, where we used to actually do it in person. So this year, we're taking students that are actually going to be competing for us. So these students competed last year, and in April were pronounced as our state teams. So they beat all of the other chapters in the state, placed first, so now they're going to compete at the national convention. With this, something that's really cool is 1 team from every state in the country competes. So these students are representing Rhode Island to all 50 states and territories that we have. So it's a really cool thing that our kids are getting to do. And we're super excited this year. The 7 kids on the conduct of a chapter meeting were freshmen last year, so they won statewide. So now they're going this year as sophomores to see what it's all about, and they'll hopefully pass everything on once they come home to have another freshman group compete in that competition at state level, go to nationals, and have this be a repetition every year. The floriculture team are some of our upperclassmen this year that have gone through the program, taken all of our floral courses and everything that we have to offer there. And they're really going to take that in, go out to nationals. They can compete. They competed at the state level, then they went to regionals, and now they're going to national. So they've had a lot of practice. They're working with our new ag teachers that we have this year. We've really roped them in. They're being coaches for these students and allowing to take them out there. Emily being a delegate, it's one of the most incredible opportunities that any student across the country is going to have. They have the voice of all ag students in the state of Rhode Island. So she's going to be out there talking with the other students that are representing all of the other states, and they're the voice of the organization. Unlike many others, this organization is student-run. We're there as advisors, we're there to support them, but they really make the choices that make this organization whole and what it's all about. So thank you for allowing us to go out there this year. It's incredible. We always talk about how they get to meet one student or multiple students from every state and territory in the country, which there's not really any other trips out there that bring that together. 65,000 kids in one city. It's a pretty incredible opportunity for these guys. So thank you.
Just a couple quick questions,
Yeah.
and then we're going to do our vote. So very exciting. Congratulations to you to not only having a leadership role at your school, but across the state. Like, that's very exciting. So my question is, have you been to the convention before, or is this your first time going?
So this is my third time going. Last year I had the opportunity to serve as the delegate again, and I really enjoyed it. So this year I went and got that position again because it's cool to talk to the other states and hear what they have to say and like see how our work comes together and how we get our things approved that are going to benefit other people from our states and how we work together to build it.
That's great. That's exciting. 3 times. And it's really exciting to hear that there's sophomores and juniors and seniors going, because I'm not sure in the past if it was more for upperclassmen. So this particular year, it's sophomores, juniors, and seniors that are going?
Correct.
Yep.
Awesome. Do any other school committee members have any comments or questions before we vote?
I'm just curious, you mentioned that you've made a video. Can you tell us a little bit more about the content? Oh, did I misunderstand that?
It's been a whole statewide thing. So every chapter's put some stuff into it, talking about what Rhode Island agriculture is. We've talked a little bit about ocean and those sorts of things. Ponegantset's put some of their forestry stuff into it. Charahoe's talked about the turf. We kind of all brought our little things into it, and we're going to try to submit that in, and hopefully it'll be displayed. We don't really know yet until we get out there and see what they put in from each state.
Thank you.
I would just add a huge congratulations, Emily, for this prestigious recognition of being the state president, if I'm reading correctly from this far away. You know, to be an ambassador for the state, for our district, going out and having that important dialogue is priceless. So, you know, I wish you the best of luck and the biggest congratulations on that recognition, because you're going to learn and participate in dialogue that's just irreplaceable anywhere else. So very much excited for you and looking forward to hearing how it all goes. What are you looking forward to the most?
For me, I really enjoy getting to meet people from like different states. So we already went to one training and we got to talk with all the people, but now all like the delegates are going to come together, so we get to all vote together and see what the different states and their point of views from it. So it's cool to see that opportunity.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before we vote? All right, so there's a motion on the floor to approve the field. Did you have a question? Or? Okay. Motion on the floor to approve the field trip. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Have a great trip, and thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. It was great hearing directly from you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So we're on to item number 2. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the second read of the NSS threat assessment policy?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So we had a deeper discussion on this on our first meeting. You know, if you recall, this is a state-required policy. This mirrors the state-required elements of the policy going forward. It uses the language of the Virginia threat assessment guidelines, which is, again, the gold standard of doing a threat assessment. And, you know, from our last reading, there are really no substantial changes going forward. Happy to answer any questions that you all have on the second read.
Any questions from any school committee members?
Well, just to echo, that this is very much a policy that establishes threat assessment teams and a threat assessment oversight committee, that it is a Rhode Island general law that we do this and we put it together, and this is the second reading. We've already discussed about this before. And I appreciate all the references that have been provided in the policy. I think it's all very clearly well-written. And I thank everyone on the policy committee for their work on this.
Any other questions or comments from the school committee? Justin?
Peter, I think we're one of the few districts that have actually made a policy at this point. This is a relatively new requirement from RIDE in the state, right?
It is a relatively new requirement. I know districts either have them or are in the process of having them. One district off the top of my head that has a very similar policy is Barrington, but I know other districts are working on theirs.
Perfect, thank you. I always like to know where we are in the curve of things.
Any other questions or comments from the school committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item number 3, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the second read of updates to the Narragansett School System School Improvement Teams Policy?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Again, as we talked about in our last meeting, this is a state-required policy. We have been kind of putting this place, just haven't formalized it into policy. School improvement teams are meeting. I believe the elementary school one was last night, and I know the middle and high are meeting shortly. And so this has the required elements. Nothing has changed since we discussed it at last meeting.
Any questions or comments from the school committee?
Yeah, sorry. Is this all volunteer-based?
It is.
Okay.
So there are certain required elements. So for example, at the high school, you have to have a certain number of department heads, for example. And so they are kind of in there voluntarily. It is within the scope of their duties and within the job descriptions, but they don't all come. They kind of rotate who does it year by year.
Any other questions or comments from the school committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item number 4, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the 2023 to 2026 contract for athletic director for Narragansett High School?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So I just want to, again, praise the work of Matt Marr as our athletic director. So he certainly has done a great job in terms of his presence, of guiding the sports. He supervises and hires our coaches and really has great insights into developing our athletic program. If you kind of gauge our athletic program both by level of participation and by measures of overall success, Narragansett has multiple state championships. We're always in contention, within our divisions to do really well. I was just saying, girls soccer is doing particularly well this year, so we're hoping for a big run in the playoffs. And what Matt does is really encourage both our students and our coaches. Last year, the stat I looked at was about 60% of our students, if not more, participate in one or more sports. And so that's really a major part of the life of our school, and Matt oversees all those pieces. So he does a great job.
Any questions or comments from the school committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And our last item for tonight, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the contract for athletic trainer for Narragansett High School?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Again, in terms of athletics, having a trainer on site for home events and for practices is incredibly important, certainly for the health and wellness of our athletes, but also for emergencies. And so, our current trainer, Zena, is unbelievable. She knows the students really well. She develops, positive, appropriate relationships with them, is really looking out for their health and welfare. So this contract really supports her continued work with us.
Any questions or comments from the school committee?
Just commenting that, can't undersell just how important I think you've pointed out with the safety of all athletes involved. And, I just think it's a great opportunity and almost a necessity just from what we've been hearing. And I just, I appreciate that this is being brought up for vote.
I just want to add on to that. I think it is a necessity as an athlete. I know when Zena left, I was practically distraught. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So when I found out she was coming back, I remember Abby Hummel texted me and was like, I have the biggest surprise for you, because she is an actual lifesaver. I go into her room before practice or before a game, and it's packed with kids needing her to readjust them or wrap something. So I can't say enough how a trainer is needed, and I'm so happy that we brought her back because she is amazing and she's so helpful. So, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Are there any communications that any school committee members want to mention? All right. So we are back here November 15th for our November regular business meeting at 7 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn at 7:50?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening, everyone.